Hello, and welcome to the AgSafe Alberta General Farm Safety Orientation Training Module. The AgSafe Alberta General Farm Safety Orientation Module is provided for you to get a real high-level overview of some safety basics that you will need to work on a farm. By the end of this session, we'll give you information about farm policies, safety roles and responsibilities. We will discuss what a hazard management program is, how to report incidents, emergency response ideas and concepts, and finally, training. Farm safety is all about protecting you, your fellow farm workers, and your family. Take a moment to consider how you can make your safety program work to protect you and your loved ones. Let's think about some of the farm policies that you might see at the farm where you are working. Many farms in Alberta have established a policy for safety that reviews roles and responsibilities for safety, the farm rules and other specific detailed policies like confined space entry protocols or animal handling protocols, and even biosecurity protocols. The farm safety policy will provide you with information about the farm's commitment to safety for the operation. It also outlines the farm's commitment towards sustainable practices that promote a safe and healthy farm site. When you arrive at work, you should expect to be provided information about the farm safety program. Look for the posted safety policies and ask to see the safety manual. If there is no safety manual, ask questions to make sure you understand the farm's expectations for safety while you work there. Get comfortable with the safety initiatives on the farm and how you can participate. Let's think about it. Who's responsible for safety on the farm? The answer is simpler than you might think. We all work together to create a safe working environment on the farm. It's everyone's responsibility. Farm management, supervisors, the farm workers and family members, and even visitors and contractors attending the farm have responsibilities for safety. Stop and think about your role. Where do I fit in the farm safety plan? If you're not sure, ask questions to the farm manager and your fellow farm workers. You should always feel comfortable to ask questions and learn from others around you. In fact, this is critical to help you work safely. Rules are established so that we can work with others. They are a common understanding that become a shared belief by everyone. Each farm will have a different set of safety rules. Some of the more common rules are: each day you should arrive fit for duty, not under the influence of drugs or alcohol, and be well rested and ready for the day's work ahead. You should understand and follow procedures that apply to you. If you come across unsafe conditions or if there has been an incident, you must report these immediately. For the equipment that you are operating, ensure all guards and protective shields are in place before starting up. You must wear required personal protective equipment that is suitable to the job you are doing. Only operate equipment that you have been trained on and approved to operate by the farm owner. Comply with safe zones for family, visitors, and contractors. Ensure that your family complies with the rules of the farm. Make sure you understand your role and responsibilities for safety before you start work. Listen to your farm manager and follow the farm directions to do your work safely. The safety program is all about protecting you, your fellow workers, and the family members that live on the farm. Now that you have a grassroots understanding of some of the rules and responsibilities, let's move on to hazard management. But what is a hazard? A hazard can be defined as a situation, condition, or behavior that has the potential to cause injury or loss. A hazard management program will look at the hazards and what you can do to control them. Hazard identification and control is the cornerstone to every safety management program and is one of the most important things you can do to be safe. It is really important to take time in your day to identify hazards and what you can do to control those issues from causing harm or damage. Hazardous situations on the farm may be created by animals, machines that you operate, or work processes that are performed. chemical and biological materials that are used commonly on farms, environmental conditions such as severe weather, tornado, plow winds. Personal lifestyle choices such as fatigue and stress can generate hazardous situations for you. Identifying and understanding hazards is the first step in your hazard management strategy. Let's consider some of the more common hazards that you will find. Each type of equipment, like combines, balers, feeders, and augers, will have different hazards that you'll want to know about. Pinch points, cutting points, and wrap points on moving parts of equipment are obvious and easy to identify. Before starting any equipment or machinery, take a moment, stand back, and look at what could hurt you. Tractor rollovers are the leading cause of farm fatalities. Rollovers occur when driving on a steep slope or cornering too sharply at higher speeds. Fatalities have occurred when tractors didn't have rollover protection to prevent the operator from being pinned or thrown. While operating tractors, you need to constantly evaluate the hazards of the terrain that you are working. Livestock handling is a complex hazard because we are now working with a live animal. Sometimes things are not so predictable because every animal has a mind of its own and they want to control hazards around themselves. Working with livestock in the corral, handling livestock in the barn, or moving animals in tight spaces can represent danger to the worker. Working with livestock in the chute represents a hazard due to the close contact with animals during handling and treating. Feeding sessions and crowding also could be hazardous when livestock are eager and in an excited state. Hazardous chemicals are often used on farms for disinfecting, cleaning, pest control, and for animal health. Learn about the hazards associated with the chemicals used on your farm and know which products can be hazardous to your health. A final example includes confined spaces. Confined and restricted spaces are dangerous because they can suffocate a person with deadly fumes, create environments with a lack of oxygen, or you could be engulfed in grain. Some examples of confined spaces on the farm include water tanks, grain bins and silos, bulk milk tanks, manure pits, and root cellars. Dugouts, wells, and lagoons are also considered as hazardous confined spaces and pose a risk of drowning or exposure to dangerous hydrogen sulfide gases. Consider all the hazards that could be present in your farm working environment before you start your work. It could be the best 10 seconds you spend for a lifetime. Now that we have discussed what a hazard is, let's talk about how to control those hazards. When hazards have been identified, what steps will you take to control the hazard and protect yourself, your family, and farm workers around you? Let's take a moment and consider the different hazard control strategies that you can use. The first step in hazard control will identify what can be done to eliminate the hazard altogether. Are there safer pesticides that can be used instead of highly toxic ones? Can we sell the bull that is constantly charging or putting you in harm's way? What other equipment can we use to do the job more safely? If you can eliminate the hazard, you will have set up the best safe working environment because you have removed the hazard. The second type of hazard control uses manufactured options to engineer the hazard out of harm's way. Things like guards around rotating equipment, electronic shutoff systems, rollover bars, progressive locking systems on gates and livestock yards are all examples of engineered control options. They are constructed to act as a barrier between the worker and the hazard. If you cannot eliminate or separate yourself from the hazard using engineered controls, then you can implement and follow administrative controls to help prevent the hazard from causing harm. Examples of administrative controls include procedures to complete the job safely, following safety rules to protect the worker, visitors, and family, setting up safe zones for the children, complying with work-alone check-in procedures to ensure that people know where you are working, managing your fatigue and making sure you are fit for work, and completing training on equipment and machinery before you operate. Once you have identified and implemented engineered and administrative controls, you can add personal protective equipment to further protect yourself. There are many different types of personal protective equipment that you will have available to you. Select the PPE that your farm manager has asked you to use for the job task. Remember, personal protective equipment is the last control option and should only be used after thinking about and implementing engineered and administrative control options. Remember that identifying hazards and controls are critical for your safety. Make certain that you understand the Farm Hazard Management Program before you start work. In the next part of the module, we'll consider incident management, which includes near-miss and incident reporting, and how incident reviews contribute to ongoing farm safety programs. Usually, when an incident occurs, it's due to a failure in the safety system. When we capture information about what happened, we can evaluate the steps that caused the incident. This is an incredible source of information and will help prevent the same events from happening in the future. Reporting incidents helps the farm to learn from previous issues that compromised your safety. Near misses are events that did not happen but under different conditions could have caused harm or damage. It's important to report near misses because they are a great source of information and can help protect your fellow workers from having the same near miss happen to them, or even worse, get hurt. When a near miss or incident happens, always report to the farm management immediately to ensure that corrective action can be taken quickly. After you identify corrective actions, follow up to ensure that those changes are completed to protect yourself and others. Don't put yourself in a situation where you wish you would have reported a concern and then someone else gets hurt. Remember, first aid incidents are also important to report. If the farm is aware of ongoing first aids associated with a job task, corrective actions can be considered to change worker exposure and help protect you into the future. If you get a scratch, burn, or cut, be sure to treat it and report it immediately. The final component of the incident management process will be to learn from what has just happened. Farm management will review the incident, determine what caused the event to occur, and then take corrective action to prevent similar issues in the future. As the worker on the farm, make sure that you take the time to learn from past incidents and follow the corrective actions that have been created to prevent similar incidents from happening to you. Next, let's discuss emergency response planning. The farm-specific emergency response program will define how you can help others and how they can help you during emergency situations. Each farm will have unique emergency response requirements depending on the type of farm operation. For example, livestock operations will have different types of potential emergencies than grain farms. Farms with only one main yard will be different than operations that have multiple yards and many buildings. And small farms will have different situations than larger farms. When you start work at the farm, take time to know what your role is for any emergency that could happen. Ask yourself these questions. What are your responsibilities when an emergency happens? Where is the emergency contact information and how do I call for help? Where is the equipment that you might need during an emergency? Who are the first aiders on the farm? How will you give direction to emergency responders to help them find you? When you think about these different scenarios, you can prepare for emergencies before they happen. If an emergency happens, you'll know what to do. The final topic we will cover in this session will be training. Each farm will have a specific training program that you will participate in. Training is important to ensure that you can operate the farm equipment according to farm expectations. Understand farm-specific procedures that apply to the work you are going to do, and help you contribute and participate in the farm safety program. Farm-specific orientation training will give you a farm-specific overview of safety requirements and introduces you to the policy, procedures, and rules that apply to the work you will perform. Orientation training will give you the opportunity to ask questions and find out more information about jobs on the farm that you will be asked to perform. And finally, orientation training will instruct you on how to handle emergencies should something happen. Other job-specific training might include equipment-specific coaching that will provide information on how to operate equipment safely, farm-specific methods to handle livestock safely. Driving evaluations might be completed to evaluate your driving skills. Operator training for field equipment to confirm your level of expertise. And other training such as specialized training for WIMS, first aid, confined space entry, or working at heights. Training is an important part of your safety. Follow the training that has been provided to you and always ask for more training if you feel like you need additional help. You will be glad you did. This general orientation has provided you with a quick overview of farm safety from AgSafe Alberta. We have discussed the role of farm policies and your responsibilities for safety, hazard management concepts, incident reporting, emergency response, and training. Take the initiative and protect yourself, your fellow farm workers, and your family. We know how to grow things in agriculture. Plant the seed of safety, nurture and grow it over time. Thank you for making farm safety a priority. If you have any questions or would like additional information, contact AgSafe Alberta at www.agsafeab.ca. Have a great season on the farm.